where you're joining us from. Super excited to welcome you again to today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out to join us on today's webinar. I believe we can all hear me. It seems my network is lagging here. Can you all hear me, please? Okay, just to confirm. I want to believe that raise of hand means you can hear me. All right, thank you so much, Jeremiah. Thank you. Okay, once again, you're welcome, and we are super, okay, great. Thank you, Steve. We're super excited to have you on the call. I believe that it's been a productive day from our end. It's been a productive day. Thank you for taking the time out to join us for this fireside chat webinar this evening. It's going to be an amazing time. And we promise not to take so much of your time because we believe that it's been a long day for some of us, and you probably just want to enjoy the rest of your weekend. But this is also another way for you to relax into the weekend as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Okay, before we get started this evening, I would just like us to quickly introduce yourself to us in the chat box. You can just tell us where you're joining from. Of course, we can see your names already, so you might not need to add your name, but you can tell us where you're joining from and one expectation that you're looking to take out from this webinar. So tell us your
Okay, I think if Fair just dropped off while we wait for her to join. Like she said, let's just know where you're joining from. So if you could just put that in the chat box, so we know, represent your city, your country. I'm joining from the UK, from London. Let's know. Let's know. I believe we're a global village here. While we are doing that, the link will be in the chat box again for the Zoom meeting we're on. So you can just invite someone who you know should be here. Someone who you know should take that bold move to make their tech transition, but for some reason, they've been letting one fear or the other keep them behind. So with the Zoom link in the chat box, you can just reach out to those people. You can post it share this with your network, and let them know that something incredible is about to happen on the Zoom streets. Right. Waiting to read from us. Okay, I see Steven from Qatar. Um, who else? From the UK, from Nigeria. Amazing. Jeremiah from Ghana. Oh, we have a Ghanaian here. Awesome. Let's keep that coming in. Let's keep that coming in. All right. So today's session promises to be a very insightful one. I see our responses coming in, and that's wonderful. Today's session promises to be a very insightful one. From our interactions with a lot of you, we've come to understand that one of the major restrictions or one of the major holdbacks that a lot of us experience is just that fear, the fear to make the commitment, to launch your transition journey. And that's what we'll be addressing today. And to do that, we have invited some of our wonderful friends in the industry These are people who are thriving in their own right, and they'll be coming to share, today with us from their personal experience, what their transition journey has been like. You might be surprised to find that some of the challenges that you are facing now is not unique to you, as they have also faced the same challenges themselves. And hopefully, with the insights that we're sharing, you'd find ways to navigate your own, challenge, as it were. All right, so I'll be introducing our guest speakers shortly. I'll be starting with Dorcas. All right, so Dorcas is beyond one of our being a member of our alumni community, because she trained at Cloudboosta. She's a passionate DevOps engineer with about 2 years of hands-on experience in building, automating, and optimizing cloud and hybrid infrastructure. She has strong expertise in AWS. She has a growing proficiency in Azure as well, and practical knowledge of Kubernetes, GitHub Actions, Terraform, Linux, and Python. Her background is in agricultural economics, which has given her a unique perspective on problem solving. Right, Dorcas is deeply committed to continuous learning with a strong focus on automation and scalable infrastructure. And beyond all of this, beyond her engineering work, she actively inspires individuals to learn and develop technical skills, helping others start and grow in tech. All right. Dorcas is driven by her curiosity and impact as she aims to advance into the AI focused DevOps role, where she hopes to contribute to secure, efficient systems and operations in the modern cloud environment. So let's just give Dorcas a warm, warm, warm welcome in the chat box. Let her see your welcomes. Let's see. Welcome, Dorcas. Welcome, Dorcas. Um, okay. Introducing our next guest speaker is Olorife. Over to you, Ife.
Thank you so much, everyone. So right now we're going to be introducing Emmanuel. Of course, for some of us who've been attending some of our webinars and events, you must have been familiar with the face. So I'm just going to run through the introduction very quickly, and then we bring on board our CEO and founder as well, and then she will take over from here. So Emmanuel is a DevOps professional with a strong technical experience with AWS, Python development, infrastructure as code, that is Terraform, CI/CD pipelines, containers and container orchestration, Docker and Kubernetes. It is a security development, developing control policies and compliance checks for AWS, and practicing agile methodologies, that is Scrum, Kanban, and ShapeUp. In addition to that, he has experience leading DevOps engineering teams, as well as consulting and all it entails, especially stakeholder management and business development and protection. He believes his major strengths are his drive for success, communication, diligence, being quick to learn, empathy, and humility. He enjoys the balance of being a leader and looking at things from a high level, as well as still being very hands-on technically. He is a first-hand mech engine, electrical and electronic engineering with industrial experience graduate from the University of Manchester. So ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Emmanuel as well. Of course, we can say his face already. Please welcome him. And of course, you would have noticed that these people that we've been introducing have no prior experience in tech. So you can already see that. Okay, finally, for today's introduction, I'm going to be introducing our CEO, of course. Gbemisola Ojo is a cloud DevOps manager with vast experience managing cloud infrastructures in AWS and automating software development process using continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline. She is a certified AWS Solutions Architect Associate. A strong passion for technology and an appetite for lifelong learning drove her transition from mechanical engineering as well to technology. She developed programming skills independently and continues to gain new set of skills through practical projects, constantly expanding her capacity in the IT industry. Well, she is well known for her excellent delivery, drive, tenacity, analytical mind, and ability to work effectively in a team, leveraging people's strengths. So, ladies and gentlemen, to take us further tonight, and I believe that we are all super, super excited and ready. Ensure that you get your pen, ensure that you get your paper ready as well. And if you have any question during the course of their chat, please ensure that you use the link in the chat box to drop in your question. That's the Slido link. We're going to be dropping that very shortly. Ensure that you pen your question in there so that we can be able to take them all. So I'm just going to be handing over to Gbemisola to take over from here. Over to you.
Thank you, Ife. Hi, everyone. Once again, you're most welcome. Hi, Emmanuel. It's good to have you again. And hi, Dorcas. It's really good to have you here. Like, it's such a joy to have you both. And I know that the conversation is going to be very interesting. Please keep your questions coming in. Slido link is in the chat box. Please make sure that you use it to ask your questions. I'm just going to go straight into the conversation. You guys have heard their introduction already. So, and as they share their story and answer the questions, they'll talk more about themselves. So the first question, which is really recurring, I feel like a lot of people, because I've been going through the question, a lot of people have been asking this question. I want us to start from the very beginning, right? Before you became a cloud professional, I want you to talk about some of the fears, and this question is for Emmanuel. Talk about some of the fears and doubts that you had about moving into tech, right? And that question covers some other questions that someone is asking, for example, how do I deal with imposter syndrome? Feeling like I'm not smart enough for tech. I currently work as a cleaner in UAE. Someone else is also asking, what was your biggest fear, right, when you wanted to start your tech journey? Another person is saying that sometimes I'm scared of wasting time or money if it doesn't work out. How can I know if it's worth it? So I think the first thing is really around fear, right? How did you overcome that initial fear of transitioning? Thank you.
Yeah, so all those questions like resonate because they're all very familiar and it's things you obviously ask yourself a lot. Um, there's always a fear, and I think the biggest fear is, especially like for me, I was a graduate and going into it. The biggest fear is always like I've spent 5 years studying something different, and someone else has spent maybe 5 years or even more studying, or the people in tech have spent 5 years or even more studying to work in tech. So how can I compete with people that have that head start? So that was where my fear came from anyway. Of like they have that head start. How can I compete? How can I, make myself stand out? But I think something that again is clear to me now, but not then, is that, life isn't linear. You can't say because they've spent 5 years in front of it or 5 years on it, there's no room for you and all these kinds of things. There's room for everyone in every industry. It's all about how you kind of like, put your own self into it. What I tell people, especially when they prepare for like interviews and things, is that you don't it's hard, but don't focus too much on what the company wants or all these things. Like focus on what you bring to them because there's only one you. So that's the same mentality I think can help you overcome it of like, okay, these guys have spent 5 years studying in uni or what have you. What can I do differently? Can I work harder? Can I apply myself a bit differently? Can I use my own background in a different way? Like, if I'm coming from, I don't know, an English background or something, right? That means I probably write better than most engineers. Can I come and write good documentation and use that as a building block? Just, while I kind of learn other things. We had in the questions there, someone talked about being a cleaner and stuff. That means you probably have a better work ethic than most of the people that just grew up, coding because, on average, people that feel like they're very good on coding are not the most, hardworking people. That means you could be someone that goes in there and you're like, you know what, my 8 or 9 hours at work, I will maximize it to the fullest. And that's what it's going to be. So I think the fear is real. It's always there, but like, try and rephrase it of like, oh no, these people are ahead of me. I don't feel like I belong and things like that. The truth is that, everything takes time. And in all honesty, like the things, if you, at least for me, the things that I look back that I'm proud of the most, like my career and stuff, is because I know how difficult it was when I started. More often than not, if you start with something and it's extremely easy, there's not a lot of growth for you. And our human mind is so weird that like if we're not growing in something, we get bored and we're not challenged and we're not happy. So look at it as a gift to your future self of like, okay, I feel like this is the right move. Let me put myself into it. I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna enjoy growing, and it's gonna be great. And also, like, I think there was also a question there of, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Life has no guarantees. I think there was a quote of a guy that was about to pass away, and he said the only thing he can regret are the things he didn't do. So always try. If something comes to you that you want to try it, try it. If for anything it doesn't work, at least now you know for sure it's not for you. You don't have to double think. You don't have to be like, oh, maybe if I this or whatever. At least you eliminate one thing out because there's so many different choices, so many different patterns we can take in life. So, yeah, so those are kind of the things I would say. Like, think about it. If you think it might be for you, try it. Try it gradually as well. Look at all the different roles that are available in tech. Look at what might speak to you. Look at what might interest you. Do little projects or something and try and build that interest. And if it's not there, it's fine. Leave it. You can move on to something else. But if it's there, try and nurture it. And honestly, I'll tell you that it's always a rewarding journey.
Thank you so, so much. So you guys have heard it, right? Like, what can you bring from your current field that will make you different? And of course, he shared his fears vulnerably as well. And he has also covered the question of someone that says, I've been in my current career for over 10 years. Is it too late for me to switch now? No, it's not too late. You can always start. Don't be intimidated. Don't be. Okay, so thank you so much, Emmanuel. Dorcas, my next question is for you. I mean, you transitioned into tech, into cloud DevOps with no background at all in this field. And a lot of people in our audience are beginners, right? So I'm just going to collate some of the questions that they're coming up with as people who are just starting. So people are wondering, right? So people are saying that what if they just don't get to understand what they're being taught, right? Is it possible for them? I mean, from your experience, how true is it? What if, so people feel like, what if I just don't get it at all? I enroll for this training and everything is sounding like jargon to me. Like, how am I going to be able to deal with it? And how do you think Cloudboosta's kind of training or the community support that we have can help them bridge that gap? So, and off the back of that, people are saying, how do they handle things like information overload? Because there's so much to learn, right? Someone is saying that, how can Cloudboosta structure help someone like me who easily gets overwhelmed? So I just want you to speak to somebody, most importantly, maybe they're from a non-tech background and they're wondering, like, is this training going to be worth it for them? Learning from start, being able to handle information overload, would they get the kind of support that they need? Just share from your own experience, right, for such people.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I believe you can hear me. Oh, all right. So, dealing with information overload, I would say that the information about cloud DevOps is a lot. As you're trying to learn one thing, another one is coming up. Before you finish learning one thing, another one is up. So for me, what I did based on and coming from the Cloudboosta, how it works at Cloudboosta. So Cloudboosta will teach you from scratch, from the basics, like from the, the same way children will learn how to read and write. They start from the alphabet, counting 1 to 3. So that's how Cloudboosta works. They will break it down to you from the basics, with even hands-on tutorials. From your first class, you're already, provisioning things on the cloud. So that's one way you can like handle that. Then having to do with information overload. For me, I started from after my Cloudboosta training, of course, I had to like do some personal learnings on my own. So I just built on the foundation that Cloudboosta had already laid. So for example, I could just pick up a DevOps concept, maybe, or let me do cloud, maybe pick up a cloud concept, maybe an S3 bucket, for example. And then I like read everything I need to know about it, go to the AWS console, and then, try to, create an S3 bucket. And then when it now comes to DevOps, I can take an example. For example, maybe I want to do GitHub Actions, which is a CI/CD pipeline. I will research, start from the basics. It's very key to start from the basics, and don't assume you know Don't assume you know. And then also your documentation is also there to guide you. So don't assume you know. You just start from the basics, you break it down. Because if you like overload yourself too much, there's a very high tendency that you can become overwhelmed. So, and once you're overwhelmed, trust me, it can be very discouraging. So, and then also try to, join online communities. There are always people ready to help. You can't do tech alone. So there are always people that are always ready to help. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. So you guys have heard it from Dorcas. Take it one concept at a time. Don't try and learn everything together, right? And that's the thing. In Cloudboosta, we do it step by step, right? You're with us for a number of weeks. So every week is a different concept. You don't need to know every single thing possible, but there's a minimum you need to know, and that's what we give you. And of course, after your training, you can build up on it and do more things. Thank you so much, Dorcas. Emmanuel, my next question is for you. Someone is asking that what is one thing that you wish you knew earlier that would have made your own transition to tech less intimidating? And building up on that, someone is saying that if you could go back and start your tech journey again, what is one thing that you would do differently? And I think you can also answer the question of what would you say to someone who has been planning to start for months but has not taken the first step yet?
Okay. So let me start with the last one first. Like you've been planning to start for months and you've not taken the first step yet. That's something that happens to a lot of us with life. Like, I know a lot of people that even say things like, I've been wanting to start to go to the gym and I haven't been able to do it for the last how many weeks or whatever. The truth is that again, our minds are negative. So when you want to start something, and especially when you care about something and you care about, succeeding at something, your mind is going to try and push you away from doing it because of what they call anticipatory anxiety. Your mind is scared of failing, so it's telling you don't do it, right? And the only way you can fight that is to just do it. It sounds very easy and or very dismissive almost because like, oh, of course I'm trying to do it. What do you mean? But what you can do is gradually introduce yourself, right? So now you've not done it for all this while, probably because you're thinking of, oh, when I do it, I need to settle down 8 hours every day. But like the time you've wasted now, if you were doing even if it was 30 minutes every day now, you would have covered a lot of things. So start small. Start small. I always say like one step in the right direction is better than running a mile in the wrong direction. So if you just do 30 minutes, see how it goes, even if it's 30 minutes a week, see how it goes. Okay, today now I know what DevOps is. That's something. Tomorrow I know the different roles in DevOps. That's something. Just gradually and you build on and you test your own interest as well. If you're always wanting to come back for more, then maybe yeah, it's for you. So I think hopefully that answers that. And then in terms of like for my own career, what I wish I knew when I started, I think one of the first things I wish I knew was the fact that nobody knows it all. I think it sounds very simple, but in my head, I felt that everybody knew everything and I didn't know. And, that probably speaks to some level of insecurity or vulnerability or something. But you need to realize that not everybody knows anything. Everyone is just trying to make the best of what they can. And again, that's why there's documentation around everywhere and all these things. So you'd hardly see an engineer that's doing things from memory because, again, we're all figuring this out as we go. The good thing is that, you need to understand sort of the basics and things like that. Kind of like, when you learn how to drive, you learn the general gist of driving. But like, driving your Mercedes is different from driving your Tesla, but you have an idea. So that's all you want to try and do. You want to get yourself to the position where like if you need to pick up something new, you know how to do it and all these things. You know what documentation to find, you know what information is relevant, what information is trustworthy. That's the way you want to get to because there'll always be new things to learn. And you want to always be a work in progress, like you're always improving and going on and stuff like that. In terms of what I would do differently, I think so certifications were a big thing for me in my career. But I think it took me about a year of working before I actually started studying towards certifications because I thought that, oh, what's theoretical knowledge going to do? It's all about the practical and this and that. But again, at the end of the day, to use the driving analogy again, yes, as much as you want to learn how to drive, You need to know what a steering wheel is, what a gear stick is, all these things before you actually get there. So being able to, if I had known, if I had known what I know now, if I had gone back from day one, I'd have started studying for certifications because also I was just coming out of uni. So I have an advantage there because a lot of people have been working for 10, 15, 20 years. They don't know how to study for exams anymore. I've literally just come from that environment. That's my strength. So I should have learnt on that a bit more and studied more, done more certifications, gained more knowledge that way and built my profile that way. And as well, you build confidence because sometimes you think, okay, it's just theory, but then something will happen. It's like, oh, this system is down and it's showing total error, and you click to your head from your certification, like, oh, that means this policy is wrong, and you'll be like, oh, how did I even know that? And that builds your confidence because yes, you've not done it, physically or practically, but the fact that you even know what to do means that you can even go and Google, okay, I know I need to fix this. How do I fix it? You've now gained a process as to where before you'd just be like very confused as to what's going on. So I think those are the things I would I'll tell my younger self if I could. But yeah.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So good. I love how practical your answers are. Thank you so much. Dorcas, the next couple of questions are for you. Someone is asking what learning style worked best for you, right? I guess while you were at Cloudboosta, was it videos, was it projects, was it group works, was it study groups, was it mentorship? And then another question is, how long did it take you to start feeling confident in what you were learning?
All right, thank you. So, regarding my learning style, I'm a visual learner. I like to see, I learn through videos. If you give me audios or something, I can sleep there. So I love to see, and as I'm watching videos, I'm also trying my hands on it. So that was my learning style. And then I also did projects too. So at Cloudboosta, there is an alumni community. Like when you finish your training at Cloudboosta, you enrolled, you voluntary, but I would advise you to, jump at it at the alumni community where you have projects that you work on, and they are real world projects. Yeah, the industry, the kind of projects you'll be solving at that alumni program are the program kind of problems you meet in the real world. So those kind of projects to help me. As a matter of fact, I even included some of those projects on my CV, and yeah, so you can also do that too. So that was how my learning style worked. I'm a visual learner. So for some other people, it could be through audios, reading through documentation. And I love to take my time to understand concepts. I learn in bite sizes. I don't overwhelm myself. So you may also want to take that for who asked that question. And then the last question you asked me, sorry, I didn't get that.
So how long did it take you to start feeling confident in what you were learning?
Okay, let me be honest. Even till now, I'm still learning. So the DevOps there was something I put out on Twitter yesterday. I mean, if you learn on the job, you learn as you go. You think you know it. As Emmanuel was saying, nobody knows it all. You think you know it, and then you meet somebody else who knows more than you, and then you realize that you are nowhere. So if in a matter of confidence, it took a while to be sincere, because if I'm supposed to rate myself on a scale of 10, I won't say I am 100% confident, because there are still, some things that you still need to learn, keep learning. So if you must do DevOps, you must be able to learn, and then as you learn, your DevOps, your confidence level will keep on going higher and higher and higher. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely agree. Thank you so much. Honestly, as you learn, your confidence increases. And also, make sure you're comparing yourself to people who have not even gotten started on the journey. Because sometimes you just compare yourself to all the gurus in the industry, but some people have not even made that first step. Some people don't even know the volume of things you know already. So you have to make sure that you're balancing your comparison and you're celebrating the wins as you go through the journey. Thank you so much, Dorcas. I love that response. Emmanuel, a couple of questions for you. Someone says, hello, Emmanuel. As a DevOps engineer, what does your typical day-to-day look like on the job? And also, another person is saying, Emmanuel, as a DevOps engineer, how did your income or work-life balance change after switching into tech?
Yeah, sorry. I laugh because I'm laughing, but we need to be practical as well. Like I know sometimes when people talk about money, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't be in it for the money and stuff like that. But life is practical. Nobody wants to do a job where they are not earning money and it's just like, oh, no, nobody really wants to do anything just for the love of the game or whatever. You want to make money, you want to do well. Um, so in terms of income and work-life balance, um, so my journey into DevOps was interesting. So I got a job first of all as a test consultant. So my job was to write programming tests for, the applications that people have written. But in the process of, working for a consultancy, there was a client that needed a DevOps consultant. So, I was one that they felt I could transition into that. Um, so naturally, I was still on the same salary for a while, but going into that field and going into the project I went into, it meant that you know, I had a lot of room for progression, a lot of room to do a lot of things and grow. Um, I can tell you that I doubled my salary in a year after making that change. Um, so that was great. In terms of work-life balance, it's always an interesting thing. I think obviously it varies from company to company, project to project, and things like that. I think it's up to you to prioritize what your own, interests are. So for example, for me, I'm very particular about my work-life balance. And, anytime I'm choosing a job, I try and think about it. In the early days, my work-life balance wasn't the best because, again, I felt like I was trying to play catch up. So I was putting a bit more extra time, maybe an hour extra every day and things like that. But later on, once you kind of settle in a little bit more, yeah, work-life balance in DevOps, I think is quite good. There's occasional in some teams, you have what you call on call, which is okay, if there's a real problem or whatever, then they call you. But most times you get paid extra if that happens, and it doesn't happen very often anyway, because nobody wants to get woken up, so they would always just fix the system. So yeah, so I think it works kind of like your typical 9 to 5 more often than not. In terms of what my day looks like, this is interesting because I actually started a new job like 4 weeks ago. But what my day looks like now is, yeah, I kind of start the day, basic things, read emails, look at my calendar, all these types of things. 9:30, we have our agile ceremony called stand up, which is where we just go through a board of our work. Everybody goes through, okay, what did I do yesterday? What's in progress? What do I need help with? What have I finished? What are the next steps? All those kinds of things. Maybe like 15 minutes, just a way to kind of start up the morning. And then what happens after that is, so that is from like 9:30 to 10. What happens after that is that very often after that meeting, you have some action. Maybe it's like, okay, you finish this, tell this team that this thing is ready, or schedule this meeting for next week so that we can find out what these guys really need because they asked us to do some work for them, or, those kinds of things. So you just kind of follow up the actions or what have you. Um, in the job I'm in at the moment, we're trying to basically help them rebuild their whole AWS environment. So with that, after I do those kind of actions, I then kind of scope out, okay, today, what are my aims for the day? So like today, this morning now, I was like, okay, I want to test this thing I wrote yesterday. I want to make sure it's working, all these kinds of things. Like what does a successful day look like to me? That's what I kind of sketch out. And then I start doing those things. 12 o'clock, I have lunch. So 1 o'clock, I do that. Come back, do my work. So that could be, so the thing I was working on, for example, was just I was trying to deploy a change that should help us save about $1,000 a month from our AWS bill. And that's by like saying, okay, we have a test system. And what I said was like, okay, can we have something automated that turns it off at the end of the day, say 7 p.m., so it doesn't run overnight and we spend money on it. So yeah, so I wrote like Python code to help do that and deployed it through AWS and things like that. So yeah, so that's what I was testing. I was like, okay, cool. And then I wrote documentation because that's part of the job as well of like, okay, it was all great because I know how it works because I made it, but people need to know how this solution works. Okay, what happens if after the system has gone down, can we put it up again? Let's say we needed to really test something. So yeah, I just wrote all of that down. And then I shared it to my team for feedback, for reviews. And then we agreed that, okay, don't release this change because it's a Friday. Release it on Wednesday. And so we sent out an email to the wider team that on Wednesday this will become a thing. And yeah, that was my day basically. So hopefully that answers sort of questions that, what does it kind of look like? Other days there'll be meetings, meetings with the wider team of like, okay, what's the roadmap for your DevOps team? What are the problems you guys are trying to solve? Or even like meetings with developer teams of like, okay, we're really struggling with our monitoring. Can you guys help us with some automation or something like that? So yeah, that's kind of what the day looks like. It's a bit of writing code, a bit of reading or learning towards what problem you're trying to solve, documentation, meetings, that kind of thing. So hopefully that answers that question.
I love it. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, Emmanuel. So I hope that helps. I like the details so that people can actually visualize it. Okay, next question is for Dorcas. Like, for people who are complete newbies, right? They've just been hearing these terms, cloud computing, DevOps, and all of that. Can you just give like a bit of introduction of what those terms are? And also, why would you say that it is worth considering this career? Because you had your career field, right, before moving. So someone is asking, right, what is cloud computing? What is DevOps? What is this all about? So just a beginner introduction into those terms, and why do you think is actually worth pursuing this? Why would I leave what I'm doing and move into cloud computing?
All right. So to give a breakdown of what cloud and DevOps and cloud computing is in simple terms. So I just want you to think about it like in maybe 20, 30, or maybe even 15 years ago. It just like, so for cloud, those about 15, 20 years ago, people would just, have like data centers, where they run their applications. And then if things break, you will see some weird looking guys running up and down trying to fix the infrastructure. So that's one advantage of cloud computing. With cloud computing, you just buy and maintain your own physical servers on another person's cloud. Like, this is where your AWS comes in, your Microsoft, your GCP. So those are like the three leading cloud providers in the world. There are some others too. So instead of you having to buy and maintain your own infrastructure, so you can just rent it. So it's just like you're renting an apartment when you have to rent an apartment versus when you have to buy. So, when you're renting an apartment, it gives you some flexibility. So in cloud computing, you are just, renting an apartment, like you're renting cloud on another person's cloud, technically. So that's what it means. So you don't have to like do any maintenance yourself. It's the particular cloud provider that you have subscribed with that will do the maintenance for you. So that's how cloud computing works. And then, so why would you pursue it? Because nobody is, doing data center anymore. Like, it's becoming, is a very, if you Google now top 10 or top 20 in-demand skills, I can tell you that cloud computing and DevOps will be amongst that. So that's why you should pursue, because the prospect for it is very high. And then the market for it, compared to some other technical skills, we're not in the industry is not yet saturated. So that's another reason why you should also pursue it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dorcas. I think your question also covers someone that just said, you know what, I just relocated to the UK. What's your advice for someone like me from health and safety sector with zero knowledge in tech? You've heard it from Dorcas, right? You want to be in a field that would continue to be relevant, for the next couple of years, 20, 30 years down the line. Sorry, Dorcas, still on you. There's still some questions that are related to your unique journey. So some people are asking, for someone that is already in cloud and DevOps, but new to the industry, what tips would you give? And then similar to that, someone says that they want to hear more about your day-to-day since you are newer into the field. So what do you do on a day-to-day basis? And then also, someone is saying that how long did it take you to land your first cloud and DevOps job after starting the training? Your very first role, how long did it take you to land it? before you answer those 3 questions, and I can go over it again, someone says that would there be projects that we work on during the course, or is it just the alumni group? So guys, all through your time at Cloudboosta, you're constantly working on projects. Every class you're working on projects, and then you have you have 2 semesters. At the end of your first semester, you have a group project you're working on. Second semester, another group project you're working on. So all of that counts as part of your experience. But in addition to all those projects you've worked on, we now have additional projects for you in the alumni community as well. So you're constantly working on projects and building your experience so that you can access the job opportunities. So Dorcas, for your questions, who want to know your journey, like landing your first role after the training, right? What tips do you have for people who are similarly new into the industry? And then also, what does your day-to-day look like?
You. So for people who are new to the industry, my advice or what I would say is you shouldn't give up. You know, belong to communities. There are a lot of communities, and you must be ready to read and grind and stretch. If anybody told you that tech is easy, they lied to you. Take it from me. They lie to you. You must put in just like any other field that you find yourself. You must be ready to put in the work. If not, you won't get the desired result. So you must be ready to grind. Be ready for, it's not to scare you, but it's the truth. You must be ready, to put in, go the extra mile. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. So you have to be ready to go the extra mile. And then for my day-to-day activity, so I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, and then my so I work as a junior DevOps engineer at a tech company here in Lagos, Nigeria, and it's on site. So I have a 9 to 5 on site role. So at work, so what we have some and the unique thing about my company is that our infrastructure is hybrid. So when I mean hybrid, we do a mixture of cloud, and then we have some of our infrastructures running in a data center here in Lagos, Nigeria. So it's now that's another I said you have to keep on learning. So when I started out on my tech journey, I started purely cloud. Now I'm in an industry that is hybrid. So will I now say I'm not doing again? No. So you see why I was saying you need to apply yourself to learn. There are a lot of things you have to learn. So my day-to-day tasks. So at the end of at my workplace, we have our own stand-up sessions on Mondays and on Fridays. So Mondays we give ourselves tasks for the week, and then on Fridays we review what we've done. So technically, I'm a junior DevOps engineer. So there's a senior DevOps engineer, which makes my work pretty easy technically, but at least I still have to, put some things in order, So we have to maintain the infrastructure, and of course, cloud is, has pampered me, but with my hybrid infrastructure, I still have to do some learnings. And so it hasn't been easy, but I think I'm about 3 months in the role now. And so somebody was asking how long it took me. So it was less than a year and my training at Cloudboosta before I landed my first tech role. Yeah. So I talked about the alumni community. I worked on projects to include on my CV. And Cloudboosta would also train you and prep you for interview sessions. You have more interview sessions with them. So all those things put together also helped me, to land my tech role. I believe I've been able to cover
all the 3 questions. Thank you so much, Dorcas, and thank you for sharing your own practical experience. So someone is saying that, I think I can direct this to Emmanuel as well. So someone is saying, when faced with challenges in your job and you have a deadline, how do you achieve positive results, right? And they're saying exactly especially as a newbie. And okay, I think Emmanuel can answer the second question. How is cloud computing different from DevOps? Can I choose the one I want to prioritize in my career pursuit? Yeah.
Okay. So first things first. So in terms of dealing with deadlines, I think one thing we all need to understand is that success and achievements are all based on expectation, right? If you're expected to complete something in 2 years and you do it in a year, you assume you're successful, right? Or you say you're successful. So that's what's always important. So when we talk about deadlines and these things, I think sometimes it's important to realize that we're working with other human beings. We're not working with, you know, we're not working with like magical creatures or people that don't understand how we feel and things like that. So deadlines most often are a mutual agreement of, okay, how does this look? This is where we think, this is how long we think it might take, all these types of things. Try and set expectation and say, okay, look, I'm still learning. I don't know if I'll be able to finish in this time, but let's see how it goes. Be very honest. I know it's hard, but be honest, be vulnerable, and say, look, this is what I think. Now, it happens you might actually finish it before that deadline, but they will appreciate you letting them know. So that's always an important thing. Also, the worst thing that can happen, which is why some people are very worried about deadlines, is that they feel that, okay, I give you this job today and I tell you the deadline is next Friday, 24th. When there will be problem is if I'm not hearing anything from you till that 24th. Because then I'm thinking, okay, that 24th, I want to know. But try and carry people along. Okay, day 17th, I started. Okay. On the 21st, I give you an update. I did this first part too. It confused me a little bit, but this is what I did. I did this. Okay, I think I'm actually almost there now. Okay. Oh, maybe that 24th comes and it's like, yeah, but I've done like 90% of it. The person is not dumb. By the time you've gotten to like that day and it's closed and they know what's going on, they're going to say, okay, look, let's see what we can do and give you a few more days. Or maybe we give somebody else, maybe somebody else joins you to help figure it out. Because no matter how experienced you are, there's things you've never done before, right? As an example, I said, in my new job now, we're setting up everything about AWS for them from scratch because they're like, oh, the things we have before, we don't like it. We want to set up from scratch, like we're starting from a greenfield project. And, I started doing that. Like, I haven't done that before. Everywhere I've been, it's always been like, okay, this is what we have. Help us fix it. Okay. It's a different thing starting from scratch. And it was so funny because I was working through and I was like, okay, right now we're just a team of three. And I was like, okay, cool. I think I've got it now. And I kind of showed them. And they were like, oh my days, they were like, you need to explain this to us because we have actually never done this. We've just always met it like that. And me, I thought I was the only person that was like that before. So that's what I'm telling you, like, you just need to carry people along because more often than not, they might not even know. They're just guessing. They're like, okay, this thing maybe will take a week. But you now, because maybe you don't feel happy or you don't feel confident or you don't want to be vulnerable, you're just like, okay, if it's a week, then I must do it in a week. No, try and feedback. Let them know. It's always a collaboration, right? Let them know what's going on. And yeah, set that expectation of like, oh, this is why I know I haven't done this before, or this and that. Or at the same time, too, it might be something you've done before. Still set that expectation to them. Okay, I've done this before. Fine, I'll try and do what I can do. And that's it. Like, just keep that communication clear. Be happy to be vulnerable. Again, like I tell people think because it's at work, oh, I can't show any vulnerability. I think a relationship at work is still a relationship. Any relationship without vulnerability is fake. So you have to be able to be comfortable in your own skin to do that. So I think that's the important thing. And then what was the other question? Yeah, in terms
Thank
of
you so much. Yeah, cloud
cloud
computing and DevOps.
and DevOps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cloud computing, so actually, let me talk about DevOps first. So DevOps obviously comes from development and operations. So DevOps is actually, as much as we talk about it, DevOps is actually more of a soft thing. It's like a cultural thing. It's more like, okay, how do we clear that barrier of these people are developing the application, which is the development part. So those are the people that write your websites, write your HTML, or whatever you see when you open like Google or whatever. And then the operations people, and it's like those are the people that are like, okay, they've written this website. I'm the one that's going to release it. I'm going to decide what machine is going to run on. Machine is important there because, like we talked about with servers and things like that, every time you type a website, it is actually hitting a machine on the other end that is running the code you are seeing on that website. So in the old days, they'll throw it to an operations person. The developer has no idea what's happening. The operations person is running it on the server, is releasing the new version. If there's an error, he's seeing it, then he's calling the developer. Oh, I saw an error. Can you look at this? So DevOps came up as a way of like, let's stop this segregation. Let both of these teams actually merge. And a DevOps engineer is kind of like the bridge of like, okay, I know a little bit about development. I know a little bit about operations. I'm going to try and use my skill to merge them a little bit. Okay, instead of you know, these guys throwing this thing to somebody to release, can we build automation where it's like, okay, when they are ready to release, they just run it and nobody has to just, bear the brunt of that on their own and things like that. So that's what DevOps is. It's kind of just bringing development and operations together. Now, cloud computing is, like we talked about, is where you kind of have servers and machines that are kind of looked after for you, where you just kind of rent them. And obviously that's appealing, like Doctor said, is appealing because you can easily say, okay, this machine now is too small for me. The same way, like if we are renting a house, like you said, this house is too small for me. Let me move to a bigger one. But if it's your own house that you bought, you're like, okay, I want to move to a bigger one, but what do I do with this one? You know? So when you're using cloud computing, that's when that becomes a thing and it helps you be more agile. So that's how they're different. Now they work together because again, DevOps is all about streamlining processes. How do we get it from the developer writing a website to you or I reaching that website with minimum cost? Cloud computing helps there because like today a website might have only 5 people visiting it, so the server is fine. But let's say the company blows tomorrow now, 25 people are visiting it. If you're not using cloud computing, now you're like, okay, we need to buy a new server. What can we do? Well, cloud computing comes in there because now it's like, okay, cool, we can easily swap for a bigger one. And if, God forbid, the business goes down again, we can easily swap again. So that's how it kind of fits in. So it gives you that flexibility to kind of help you achieve your goals of DevOps, basically. So it's kind of an agent of DevOps. So that's kind of the difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you. So usually for someone who is thinking, can I pick one or the other? They work together. It's very hard for you to find people who are traditionally, I've been in settings where people do traditional DevOps, right? And they're still using data centers. But the newest version of DevOps is running your entire DevOps culture using cloud-enabled systems. So we always tell people to, with your cloud computing knowledge, have the DevOps skills as well, because these are the areas that we found that there are really opportunities for people who already have a cloud knowledge. So they work hand in hand, and at Cloudboosta, we teach you the two together. But even with your cloud and DevOps skills, you can then decide, okay, fine, are there specific areas of DevOps I want to focus on? Do I want to be more of a cloud architect? Do I want to master some of these tools? We find people going to become cloud platform engineers where they're just they're just automating infrastructures, or they become automation engineers, they become core site reliability engineers, and things like that. And you find that as your career grows as well, you may find that you're using some tools more than others. So the key thing is to have the right foundation, really, and expose yourself to as many tools as possible, such that you can easily now, build your career from there. So thank you so much, Emmanuel. And then final question as we begin to wrap up, Dorcas, someone is asking, how easy is it to apply for jobs in Lagos? Is there actually a market? Another person is just asking randomly, like, is it difficult to land a job in this field? So tell us your experience.
Okay. So, you have to do a lot of, and make sure you are good at your craft, because during the interview and assessment where they do a lot of screening. So just make sure you're very good. And then sometimes there's some job applications that you won't find on LinkedIn, you will not find on any job platform. So you can get those kind of opportunities by shooting cold mails. So that's one thing you can do. You can shoot cold mails to companies, check maybe there's a company you would like to work with. And one thing I can advise is you can just tell them that you want to volunteer, that they at first, because these things are very competitive now. A lot of people are beginning to get the exposure. So you have to stand out. So you can, one way you can go about it is to, apply for volunteering, through those volunteering, you could get staffed. So that's one way that it works. And then, so, I've heard of people who, just talk about their work. Perhaps, I heard of somebody, just like when I resumed my job, the senior DevOps was telling the story of one of his friends that he just did a simple project on LinkedIn. And then, he spoke about the project, and, he really spoke about what he did. And that was how a recruiter from SAP reached out to him. This person was based in Lagos, Nigeria. And then, that was how the recruiter, scaled their sessions. And that was how he relocated to Poland, and they sponsored him. So just by, making a LinkedIn post. So that's another way, you could get a job and as a DevOps engineer.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, Dorcas, honestly, it's so inspiring to hear you speak. I still remember when Dorcas, started at Cloudboosta. I remember even after her training, Dorcas says to a message like, "Baby, see, I've made up my mind. I'm going all in into this either cloud or cloud this year." And she put in the effort. Like, she was always showing up, catch, she was always there. Alumni committee, she was active. Cloudboosta would do events, she would show up. Like, that is the kind of passion and determination. So, seeing her land a dream job and thriving at it is just a joy. And that's what we desire for everyone on the call, right? You can do it. You can do it. Someone is asking about the payment plan. What's the market like? There are job opportunities out there. It's just about you making up your mind. Like someone said, I just moved to the UK. I'm in the health sector. I don't have any knowledge in tech. We will train you. You don't need to have a background in tech. So for people who don't have any tech background at all, the comprehensive Cloud DevOps course is for you, right? And we're starting tomorrow. We're actually starting tomorrow. And we've decided that, let's still extend our anniversary discount to you. So if you're still thinking, this is the next best decision, don't let this year run by without you going for that dream that you have. You have to get started, and you have to start from somewhere. So we clocked 4 recently. We were glad about the opportunity we had to train many people and help them land their dream jobs. But you are the next person we want to train. So reach out to any of our program advisors. We're going to put the link in the chat box, right? We have different payment plans available for anyone, right? So you can easily take advantage of that. So we're extending, this is the biggest discount we've ever done. Reach out to our program advisor, just say anniversary discount, and they will share the details with you. Make your commitment, and let me see you in class tomorrow. And for those of you that are interested in our accelerator course, that's the one for people who who already have a background in tech, right? Your program is only for 15 weeks. For people who do not have a tech background, your program is just for 20 weeks. So the structure is slightly different. Our program advisors will share more details with you about it, but reach out to us. Both of them are still running on really, really huge discounts that you can take advantage of. The good thing is you're putting an investment in something that you know that once you get your job, you're going to get your investment back. So please make sure you reach out to us. Don't delay again. You've heard from them. You've heard from Emmanuel, from engineering. I also studied engineering. I'm in the world of tech right now. Look at Dorcas. Her background is in Greek economics. Look at her today, a cloud DevOps engineer. And people always say, oh, how about Lagos? How about Nigeria? How about UK? It doesn't matter. Emmanuel is in the UK. Dorcas is based in Nigeria. So we have people from all over. And you're going to be taught by instructors from all around the world. All people that teach you lectures are people in Canada, in America, UK, all over the place. I have my 9-to-5 job in UK as well. And I also run Cloudboosta. So I mean, these are the people that you're exposed to. We give you everything that you need. You're working on hands-on projects, you're building, you're adding to your CV. Your time with us also passes as work experience, right? And these are things that people have leveraged to get their dream job. So reach out to us. Reach out to any of our program advisors. We cannot wait to help you transition into technology. And I'm looking forward, for those of you that signed up already, I can't wait to see you in class tomorrow. And for accelerator students as well, we're going to see you on Monday. So thank you so much. And once again, Emmanuel and Dorcas, thank you so much. Please feel free to connect with them on LinkedIn. Connect with me as well on LinkedIn. Just search for the names on LinkedIn. You will find us, and we can put the details on the WhatsApp group as well. Emmanuel and Dorcas, I don't know if you have any final words for people as we wrap up. Let me start with Emmanuel.
Yeah, I think just to say, just from all the questions and everything, I know it can be overwhelming. It's a lot. Well, I'll say, think about it. Do your own research. Like I said, take some time and try and see, what is right for you. And yeah, just give it a chance. Like I said, just give it a chance. See how it goes. There's nothing to lose, really. The fact that you're here and you're thinking about, changing to tech means there's some parts of you that's drawn to it. So try and explore that part, try and learn a bit more. And, everything, like, they say Rome wasn't built in a day, and every ocean was once a drop. So start little by little and kind of see how you grow. Don't be too worried of like, oh, how well will I be in 5 years or all these kinds of things. Just start and make progress and yeah, it's like tech is an industry where you kind of it's one of the few industries where most people will agree that you get, for the most part, you get what you put in. Other industries are a bit different where you can't really show your outputs sort of physically. But in tech, you can say, okay, I built this. This is me, you know. Like I said, I gave that example. I'm like, okay, no, this is me. I said I built this and it's going to save my company $1,000 a year, a month, sorry. That's something for me to be proud of. Okay, I can actually, solve problems and things like that. And that's what drew me into technology anyway. So yeah, give it a chance. Uh, don't be too worried about there's no room for you or whatever. Even opportunities and things like that. We're in a world now where like I think every business can do with DevOps because every business has a website, has some sort of online presence, all these things, and all these are DevOps related. So yeah. So just, there's always going to be room and there's always going to be new businesses and there's going to be amazing things coming up. AI is coming up, everything like that. So yeah, if you want to get involved, try and push the fear to the side at least and, give yourself a chance.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. There will be room for you. Dorcas, any final word?
So for me, I would like to just remember why you started. Don't, if you feel discouraged, remember why you started. That was one of the things that kept me going. Somebody said to me in tech, you don't need to know anybody that knows anybody to get your cloud role. And I found that to be true. So you always remember why you started. I can't wait for us to be colleagues.
I love it. Remember your why. Remember your why. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Emmanuel and Dorcas. Thank you so much. Emmanuel is one of our star instructors, always coming through, always there for us. Like, it's always a joy to have you. And Dorcas, one of our stellar students as well and graduates at Cloudboosta. It's such a joy to have you both on board. Thank you so much. And to our amazing audience, thank you so much for staying glued with us. I know it's a Friday evening, you want to rest, you want to relax, but make that decision before you go and hang out tonight. Reach out to one of our program advisors and tell them that you will be in class tomorrow. Take advantage of the anniversary discount, which I've extended. I mean, we're extending it, we're extending. Okay, let me just extend. I wanted to say till tomorrow, but I'll extend it to Monday, just for you to take this weekend to make your decision, and I'll definitely see you in class. And it's okay if you still decide to join us for Monday. We'll always have a way to make sure people catch up with the training, as long as it doesn't go beyond Monday, so that you can catch up and join this course fully. Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, the recording is going to be available. Reach out to any of our program advisors. They will guide you more about details, payment plan, all of that will be given to you in your DMs. Thank you so much, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, everyone. Thank you.